What's up YouTube, my name's Quickie, welcome back to the channel. That's it, I'm oiling up my shaft. My prop shaft moves, look. How good is that? Cleaned up all the inside of the casing, just got a piece of 10mm bar, slotted the end, stuck a bit of emery paper in it, shoved the whole thing in a drill, so that's been going up and down inside there. And it's fine, it moves lovely. There is a little bit of wiggle room, which is fine. I'm not fussed with that, but all the burrs are gone. So happy days. That's step one. Right, let me show you what I've been doing. Right, I'm sticking bits back on the bed. I want to get the cross slide in today and the prop shaft and get all this lot moving. I haven't monkeyed with the gibs, I do still need to. But there is, with the bed on, there is no wiggle room there, but it is tight to move. So there is a sweet spot on these gibs, I think, but the adjustment is so fine that if you go a little bit too much, you can wiggle the bed and there's play in it. But if you go too much the other way, it's hard to, harder than it should be really to move it. So I'm gonna have to spend some time trying to get all that right. But it's what it is. Right. So I've shoved the cover on here, I've brightened up the bolts, just shoved them through around a Scotch Brite basically, just because they was a bit nasty, but they come up quite nice. I don't know if you can see that. Nothing special, just neat and tidy it up basically. And I've just shoved the casings back on. There is no, gasket goo or anything else in. God, listen to the wind. Not Mrs. Woman or a van, it's a wind. I can't win, can I? But yeah, so I'm just shoving all these case covers back on just so I don't lose any nuts and bolts. Just because that would be horrible to get right to the end and go, oh, where's that thing? You know, somewhere. All my nameplates and stuff are back on. Those little hammer drive rivets work really, really well. I'm pleased with them. Doddle to put in as well. Really, really good. So it's all had another squirt of oil in here just because it's open to the elements. Well, say elements. It's open. But that's all in there. Everything's moving lovely and it's all oily and everything. So that's all good. So we're sort of there. So basically I want to get the cross slide in. How does all that go together then? No. No. Oh, right, adjustable. I hate these things, but I think I hate imperial spanners more. Easy. Oh, don't go anywhere. Right. I don't know why I'm cleaning it. My hands are filthy, it's just going to get covered again. Right, if I get this bolted on, then that handle goes on that end. I've got a bearing and some races there, and then I've got this load of doohickey stuff on the other end just to take out any backlash. It should be quite a simple thing. If I can get this bit done first, then I'll worry about the prop shaft later. I think. Yeah, let's do that. Right then. None of these had washers underneath them, but it's weird because there's like washer flats on them. So everything's just getting the washer on it now. Well, apart from those ones, because I ain't got to fit that. But it just saves chewing up all the paint work and stuff that I've just done. So, why wouldn't you? He's going on there. Oh, you're going to be a cock, aren't you? How did I get him out? Right. Come on. There's a key in there. There it goes. Come on. Right, so there we're into the nut. There we go. Sweet. Right, where's the other races? I probably don't have to do this, but I'm doing it anyway. He's going to go all in there, like that. Get on. And then we've got this little collar. So this, I think, is just what takes, you can adjust it. And then it's got this little sort of, you know, washer with holes in it, and when that lines up in the keyway, only one of these holes matches up with one of these holes, and that's how it sort of all gets locked in place. It's a bit of a daft way of adjusting it, really, because you can't get anything on this collar to get a grip on it to, you know, snug it down or anything. I don't know, see how we go. It's more just like a lock than it is anything else. Well, that's about as tight as it's going. So, shove my washer on there into the key. Come on. Like that. Which one do you line up with? That one. Really weird. No, I didn't want to go in, but I didn't want to go in. He's on now anyway. So there is a tiny, tiny little bit of play in the handle, but you can't wind this down anymore. It's all dependent on that, on it all being pushed down from here. Mind you, on the scale over there on the vernier, it's like about ridiculously fast. It is going to get a DRO on it anyway. So the vernier is really just there for show. There we go. Right. I'll leave that for a minute. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Right. Just nipping up the grub screws to lock the gibs into place at the minute. Is it spot on? Probably not. I know I need to monkey about and adjust these because they're still tight. The idea is that once I get everything together, all the bed and everything's going to be indicated. I want to make sure it is perpendicular that way as well as that way and everything else. So basically winding the bed one way to another and just make sure it's not going in on skew. And then when the DRO goes in, again the same sort of thing's going to happen again. Just because I want to make sure it's all running true. Yeah, you probably don't need to, but I'm doing it anyway. A quick clean. Look. I should have painted it like a grubby oil colour, shouldn't I, really? I'm right in the middle of getting these forks and stuff done for ASBO, making up some new adjusters and stuff like that. However, we've had a delivery. Brett got it done. This is the main drive spindle out of the mill, Brian. And he's finished machining it all up and he has done a cracking job, it has to be said. It is lovely. The problem that we had was that the taper that was on this originally basically ain't going to fit anything these days. The machine was supplied in 1941 for part of the war effort. I don't know what it was supposed to be making or anything else, because the MOD hadn't replied to my email. But all the tooling would have gone with it and it was all bespoke. So, you know, you just ain't gonna get stuff like drill chucks and boring heads and collet holders and all that sort of stuff. So we've had to adapt this one. And what we've gone for is an International 40, like that. This is my new keyless drill chuck. Yeah, looking forward to using that. Basically, this taper in here sits on this, and then there's a drawbar that goes into the end of it to snug it all up. And these slots here are just for, you know, rotation, but it is a lovely, lovely fit. There we go, look. There is no wiggle room at all. And it might be a bit stuck. There we go. I didn't push it all the way in because I didn't want to get it jammed in there. Anyway, so yeah, that's all been remachined. He's put some dogs on the end of it, which is cool. I do need to thread lock them, but it wasn't without its complications. Basically, that's the old drawbar, which I don't know what big it is, but it don't fit in the end of the tooling that I've got. So we're having to go for a bigger one. Of course, that meant the hole down the end weren't big enough either, so he's had to drill all the way through it. Then he's had to put a taper on it here. We've kept the slots as they were on the original tooling, but just drilled it and then made up these dogs for the rotation of it. I do need to thread it then. But yeah, I dragged a file across it and I did mark it up. Well, I thought I marked it up. You can still see the little nick there. But turns out the whole thing is case hardened. He's been turning this on his lathe and then doing whatever to it and blah 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 to get it all cock on. And smoke has been pouring off of it to the point that the apprentice in the tool room actually grabbed the fire extinguisher at one point. It'll be alright, I know what I'm doing. I could just imagine it. One thing he did ask me to get, and I never knew this was a thing, but to get that hole all the way through it and to open out the bottom bit of it as well, so we can get a boring bar in there, he wanted me to go and get him a masonry drill. I thought, masonry drill for steel, eh? So you lost it. But no, apparently tips on masonry drills is carbide. And you can grind that, so he put a grind on it to go through steel and he's used a masonry drill to get bits of it done. He has cooked it, but it got the job done. I never knew that was a thing. I quite like the idea of that actually. So anyway, plan today is I want to get this lot back in the machine, because then we can do stuff like slap the covers on it, stick some oil in it and see if that oil pump works as well. Literally all I've got to do then is to stick a motor on it and the DRO scales. The motor is, we're going to go direct drive on this one as well. It does mean the motor's going to be sticking well out the side, but the pictures I've seen of these mills have that anyway. They don't all have that big old spacer with the extended bar for like a fly drive system. So it is going to stick out the side a bit, I know, but it is going to work. Brett's also got like a cush drive. It's because what I was going to do was to make up a collar which has got a keyway in it. I've got a brooch coming for that as well. So I could put a collar onto the end of that shaft with a keyway, and that would go onto the end of the motor and it would all just lock up and be sort of solid. He's got this funky little drive thing. It's got like fingers, a bit like a cush drive on a rear wheel. So the two halves interconnect and it's got rubber between it so it takes out that initial snatch, which I quite like the idea of. He's going to space it out a little bit more. Don't really care, as long as it works. But it's, you know, there's a bit of a kinder way of doing it. The other option was to keep going with the belt and pulley system that Doddy was originally going to do. I just don't like the idea of that because, you know, there's going to be belts flying around down the bottom, and there's going to be chips flying everywhere, and I can just see all sorts of nasty stuff happening. So we're going direct drive. But yeah, that lot is going back on there. Got my T-slots all sorted as well. Got bolts and stuff for that. Right, and then you can just come off. What's that for? See, I want to know what this sort of stuff is for. It don't do anything. It just goes, it's just bunging up a hole. I don't know what that does either. I mean, it should just knock out, but you're going to have troubles knocking it out because you've got to knock it out from inside. And I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go. Right. It'll be clean. See, there's some schmutz and stuff on there. Where's the Scotch Brite? Scotch Brite and WD-40 has saved the day, no end on this. It's really good just for cleaning stuff off. When you get like grease that's been there for decades and all that sort of stuff, you know, it goes up, doesn't it? But this gets it off, no worries. Right, okay, so we start with the collar first, I think. Actually, do I start with the collar first? I don't know. Right, so this is the main spindle bearing. It's quite a loose, you know, there's wiggle to it. But I think we're going to be alright. It seems to move alright and nicely. I have shoved it through the ultrasonic on like hot degrease just to get, because it was all patched with grease, so all that has gone. It's all been blown out and I've just been drenching it in light machine oil just to get it in there and get it working. And I've also, I would take it out and show you, but I've also shoved the race back into the thing. I can't get it out now. The oil holes and stuff, they've all been cleaned. But basically behind here is a couple of little holes. There you go, right, there's one there, and there's another one there, and another one there, which they've all been, you know, poked out and everything else, so they go all the way through. That's all good. That basically provides oil to the back of this cap, and then it comes in through these ways here. So essentially that's how the bearing gets lubricated. That's obviously going to go in that way, but I need to press it onto, you know, back onto this shaft. I haven't got any tube that I can just stick over top of it and mash it. Oh yeah, this collar here as well. That's it's on there. It's just like a cup. There is a locating pin that basically winds through that hole there, goes into here, and then this is a drain back into the main body. So as the oil basically gets drip fed in through the top, it works its way down the shaft, oils this bottom bearing, pulls in this cup, and then it comes back out here and back into the main machine. So he's going to need to go on as well. I keep cleaning this out. It has been doused in oil, but there's dust in it and it just seems to collect in this channel, which is annoying. We'll be alright, we'll be alright. So he's going to go on like that. And he needs to go on that way. And be pressed down. See, I can get it going. I just can't knock it down the rest of the way. So, improvise, adapt and overcome. I'm hoping this fork seal driver, the ring to it is going to do the do, and I can tap it down. I should be able to put a slightly bigger tube on that. What have we got? Fit. Just and only just. Alright, let's give that a tap. Right, so he's all the way down. Right, he's basically getting there. Right, this needs to go in there, lined up. And the whole thing just gets hoofed in. Let's give you a quick clean as well. Okay. So this is going to go in like that, and that little slot, there we go, is going to line up with that hole because that's the drain. So he's going to go in like that. The whole thing is getting shoved in, and then there's a locating plug thing that goes in there and just sits in that hole. So it's threaded on the outside and it's just like a little stub that sticks in there. That's how it all goes back together. Right then. Right then, so we're basically clean enough in there, I suppose. This needs to go, hang on, go that way. Yes, because there's a witness mark of these threads on here on the inside. So basically this goes up that way, like that, with the slot facing towards the bevel gear at the back, pinion gear, whatever you want to call it. There is that hole there, and there's a hole here, which is the drain for the oil back into the main machine. So if I shove this up in there to start off with, I'm going to get it most of the way, and then I'm just going to clean this surface and this surface with acetone and do the Hylamar thing. You basically level, yes. Right. And you was a bugger to get out. Gonna be a bugger to get back in again, aren't you? Right. He's up. go. And then we got in. Oh, that was a shim for the top. Right, so. He's on there. He's going on that bit. Just locating that little peg, which I'm not sure he is. Right, let's do that again just to be sure. Oh, hello, the rain started again. So after just a ton of cocking about, I finally got the shaft in. Finally. Yeah, it's so bloody awkward. Basically everything has to line up exactly right. And this is just going to be a pain to do. How did I do it last time? So there's this collar. Basically everything has to line up at the same time. So to get there, you have to get this casing in first up and line up the hole on the front. The shaft has to go through, but to get the collar on, it has to go through the bevel gear in a keyway. The slot has to line up front and back, and there's a keyway on the washer that sits on top of the collar. And you can't get it in the top once the shaft's in there. It's a nightmare. Well, okay. I've got no idea how to set this bearing, but what I'll probably end up doing is getting it set where I think it should be set, and then I'll get Brett just to sanity check stuff before I button everything up. I think he wants to be free running, but I don't want to be any slop in it, so he was talking about measuring the stack, basically tightening it all down and measuring the stack and then coming off it by tooth out. So we might give that a bash and just see how it ends up, but because I haven't got a manual, I'm having to make all this stuff up. Come on. Pushed all the top up, look. What bloody hell's going on there? Oh, that was where I was hitting it. Right, he's going to need another paint then, isn't he? Right, so I've got this washer on the top here, which should sit in a keyway. So I'm spinning around and shoving in the keyway. And then one of the holes lines up. And that's the one you shove the screw in. Right, that is best guess, nothing more. Give it a quick clean. Right, so again this has just been doused in oil. It should snap down in there, like that. And I've got another one of these collars, which has been marred up there. It's just trying to get hold of the bugger. There's a lip that I'm trying to get hold of. There we are. I will get Brett just to sanity check it for me, just to make sure I've not done anything really stupid. I don't think I have. I mean, it's like such a tiny amount of movement on this, and it goes from running quite nice to being dead lumpy and whatnot. So I don't think I'm far off. There's probably a standard way of setting all this stuff. I don't know what it is. But he probably will. Right, so after just a ton of cocking about, and I do mean a ton, I think I've got it sorted. This was really hard to get installed because it's all got to kind of go in at the same time, because you can't, once the shaft's going through, you can get the pinion gear in, but you're not going to get the collar and the washer and everything else in without doing it all together, sort of thing. And everything's got to line up or it's buggered. He's all down. So I'll just put the pulley on just so I can rotate it, but listen. See? No knottiness going on there at all. Adjusting the bearings was interesting. You have to start with this one, and as it basically winds up, it takes all the slack out of the tool. That's fine. The top one was more awkward because the shaft comes through the back with a bevel gear on it. Obviously it's sort of pushing at 90 degrees to where the shaft is going, so there's a little bit of slop. So you have to wind the bearing down, then rotate it, and as you do, this top collar becomes loose. So you wind it down a bit more, blah, blah, blah. And it's quite notchy and jumpy and everything else whilst you're doing this. And then it gets to a point where all of a sudden everything just kind of, you know, starts to seat properly and everything else. Nothing's moving about. It all starts feeling nice and smooth. And there's a definite bottom out point on this. So as soon as you go too far, and it literally is just like, I don't know, 10 degrees, it's that fine. It goes from being dead happy to just, yeah, I'm not moving. So that is right on the cusp, and there is no wiggle room in any of this. It is lovely. Right, let's we'll give that a quick clean with acetone. And we'll get the top shoved on. Curiously enough, the thread for these bolts is M6. It's not very imperial. It's just had a little dribble of Hylamar around it. Don't really need to on this one because oil goes in there into a cup and then that's what feeds the top bearing. Actually, we give that a squirt and make sure it does actually come through. Oh, come on. There we go. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Ideal. Right. So, what's next? Pretty much I could button this front cover up now, couldn't I? Get rid of my blue goo. Right, so that's that. There's my bolts. No. Yep, done. Right, so all the fixings that's going on, they've all got washers under, which is cool. I haven't gone potty with the Hylamar as you've seen, because there just is no point. It's more just a token gesture than anything. However, it should help us out. Put that back. That's bottom down. That there is where I want it. Oh, it does look good, doesn't it? It does look good. Right, let's mark that one actually. One there? No. So we'll come down a little bit lower than this anyway. Take a couple of threads, three threads, something like that. I'll trim it off. Then what I'll probably do is I could do the two nuts together thing, which will probably be alright. Either that or I'm just gonna, you know, put a blob of weld in the end of it. Why not? Yeah, that'll be alright. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna need a thing, aren't I? I need amber. Right, so I've buttoned up this cover here. It's had some Hylamar on it as well, just to seal it, because that's all getting filled with oil. Everything else is done. He's buttoned, yeah, okay. Tap is off. So I reckon we can fill it with oil now. I don't know what this, there's a breather thingy on the back. I ain't got a clue what it's breathing to, but we shall see. So, the only trouble is I've got no idea how much oil this is supposed to take. So this opening in here with all the gear train and everything else, in the it kind of dips down. I can shove my hand in and you can see it goes down maybe, I don't know, 3-4 inches, something like that. And in the bottom of that there is a tube which just goes straight through to this chamber here. Now because there is no fill, you know, there's no oil fill cap or anything else anywhere, I believe it has to be filled through here and up to that level. Because that way, as the oil pump down here picks up oil, comes through this line, into the sight glass. Some of it goes forward, some of it goes onto this gear train. The oil level is going to drop, but obviously as that oil comes back down, once it's done its doing everything else, it's going to fill this opening up and it's going to cover that tube and keep all the levels as it should be. So it just keeps recycling. There's a couple of other little holes, like there's one here which goes through to oil a bearing, and there's another one at the back in the bottom chamber which goes into the gear train on the back, but that is basically it. So I reckon I've got to fill it up to there with oil, which means I'm probably going to need to get some more oil because this big bottle don't look that big anymore. I'm totally guessing. I have no idea. No, still looking good. And it's still going through to the bottom. I'm definitely going to need to get some more. Oh, hello. Right, that doohickey thing on the back just started puking out oil. So I reckon that is the fill level. Ah! Oh, that would make sense. Let's just make sure the tap works. Which it does. Happy days. Right. So I don't know if I can spin this, if that... You probably need to spin this quite a lot and continually. I'm just wondering if that oil pump is working. If I can get oil up to the top. I think it needs to be under constant power. Ah. Oh, that's good, isn't it? So the bottom gear is literally half submerged in the oil. That's picking it up on this transfer thing that goes through to the back. I'm not seeing any oil coming out the sight glass, so the oil pump could be shot, but the trouble is I can't get this thing going any quicker. And I think it needs to go a bit quicker. Well, still no leaks. There's loads of holes on this side, but they obviously don't go anywhere. Oh, but as long as the oil's in it, I'm alright with that. Okay, so there's only a couple of little bits really left to do. That cover still needs painting. I ain't going to do it today. I've got other stuff I need to be doing. She's got a desk that needs putting up. That's a start for 10. But I am just going to leave it open just because that way I can come back tomorrow and check the oil level and make sure it's still where it is and we're not seeping out of anywhere. But yeah, I've got that to paint. I've got some grates to go over the holes in this base, just to, you know, where the suds and all that goes. I am going to paint them just to make them look a bit presentable because they're going to get covered in rubbish anyway. But you might as well start off right. And it's literally just the motor mount and install the DRO, and that's it, we're good to go. I don't even need a DRO just to give it a go, which I really want to do. But when it gets here, I'll stick it on. I think there's a couple of holes in the back here, so I think probably at one point it has had one. It's just it all got took off. I don't quite know how I'm going to do that side, but there you go, we'll figure it out. So there's really not that much to go. I am loving the way that this is coming. Really, really am. I'm dead chuffed that that's all back together, all the head unit, because that was a little bit of a worry. But I now know I can use all my tooling. It is lovely and you know, firm and everything else. There's no slop in it. Everything seems to be moving as it should do. It would be nice to spin it a bit quicker and see oil come out the sight glass. But we'll just have to wait until it's under power and just make sure that that's okay, because otherwise I've got to have all the oil pump apart. But anyway, that's where I'm leaving it today. Thank you ever so much for watching. Loving all the comments. People have been chipping in on this just like since the start of the project, and it's been really, really, really helpful. So, you know, if you've got any more comments, keep them coming, and we will see you on the next one. Laters!